In this short video, we're going to take a look at chain and sprocket wear and how to decide when it's time to change either or both chains and sprockets. I always recommend changing them both together, and I'll tell you why. Hi, I'm Bill Babcock, and I am an expert amateur. By that I mean I do things at a professional level, but nobody pays me. And I do a lot of different things. One of them is working on motorcycles. I'm working on a very complex solar project right now. I like to bake, I like to cook, and I like to fabricate things out of metal. So those are the kind of things we'll be covering on our channel, and I hope you find this useful. This video is basically an introduction into how to change your chain, how to do some basic maintenance items on your motorcycle. And the bike in question is a Husqvarna 701, but this is a stand-in for any motorcycle that has a chain and sprockets. And I'm going to show you how to determine when your chain is ready for replacement and when your sprockets should be replaced. And I would tell anybody that if you're changing your chain, you should change your sprockets. It's a small difference in cost, but you want your bike to be as reliable and to run without additional maintenance for as long as you can. And that simply means change your chain with your sprockets, and you change your sprockets with your chain. Because a worn chain wears out your sprockets, and a worn sprocket wears out your chain. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me to change one without the other. So let's dive in. I just finished doing about a little over 1,200 mile trip up to Vancouver Island, drove all over the island, spent a little time in Victoria. Great ride, great bunch of people to do it with. So this is the bike I took, which is arguably not the best choice for what's mostly, almost exclusively a pavement ride. I kind of wore my chain out, although the chain was definitely long in the tooth. It's got what looks like rust all over it, but I'm not sure what that is. I have a feeling it's maybe the internal lubrication. The chain is definitely worn past the limit that I appreciate. If you can see daylight, with the chain, normally I would say, okay, you got to adjust the chain to make it, tighten the sprocket. But this is a fair amount of wear, and that's a pretty good measure for chain wear. If you can pull it away from the sprocket, then you probably should be thinking about changing it. This sprocket looks good, and it's a steel sprocket, but I'm a little religious about changing sprockets along with chains, and it's pretty hard to tell exactly when a sprocket is worn. I can feel a little roughness on the tip of the tooth. If this were an aluminum sprocket, it would probably be hooked, and it would be really easy to see that it's worn. Since this is steel, this is the drive side of the tooth, and it's kind of sharp on the edges. If I feel the other side of the tooth, it's not. That tells me there's some wear happening there. There's wear causing that tooth to be sharp and have a little edge on it. So I'm going to change this sprocket as well. Both the counter shaft and the main sprocket. I consider it, for any chain drive motorcycle, I consider that to be just the standard of care. You change your sprocket when you change your chain. It gives you the longest lifespan. I don't like doing this too often. It's probably not the cheap way to do it. I mean, your chain on a worn sprocket will not wear out unless the sprocket is dramatically hooked or dramatically worn. It will not wear out hugely faster So you could almost certainly make a case for going a couple of chains on one sprocket, but I don't do it. There's a few other little maintenance items that I want to do on this bike. One is I'm a little spooked at the clutch issues that are common with the KTM 690 and the Husqvarna Enduro 701. One of the things that they had a lot of trouble with early on was the clutch slave cylinder. And so I'm going to change that slave cylinder. I'm also going to order a set of friction plates for the clutch, and I will disassemble the clutch and take a look at the existing friction plates, decide on whether or not to change them right away. But it's definitely something that's coming in the near future. This bike doesn't have that many miles on it, but it's a 2017. I bought it used about a year or so ago. I did a lot of modifications to it, and I'm really enjoying the bike, and I'm going to keep it. So I'm going to make certain that the wear items like clutch and the problem areas like the clutch slave cylinder and the brakes and the chain are all up to snuff. So let's get this chain off.